Looking for a man in finance. Just fund. 6'5", blue eyes. Finance. Just fund. 6'5", blue eyes. Looking for a man. Looking for a man. Looking for a man. Looking for a man in finance. Just fund. 6'5", blue eyes.
Good morning. If you're looking for a man in finance, I'm 6'4". I do have a trust fund, but I have brown eyes. Sorry to disappoint you. This is MDB and coming at you with another weekend review here on June 1st. And it's, what time is it? It's 11:34 a.m. I've been busy this morning doing some chores and stuff. What was that? Text came in. Oh, God, not another one. And want to do the weekend review, go over some things, and we're going to do this in a little slightly different format. So rather than go through all the charts, which I've been doing and which is taking up a lot of time, I'm switching it up to really change it to be the actionable stocks from my charts. Because why the hell does anybody need to see the charts where nothing's happening? So we'll look at the stuff where stuff is happening. And that should help shorten the videos and make them more impactful as well. So, okay, so before we get into it, for anybody who has never watched any of my videos, I'm an independent trader, investor. I've developed a unique trading system based on the book, How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market. And I've also added elements of the strategy as well. And basically, my charts are set up so that I'm looking for signals, either breakouts from box structures or, different color bars, which is basically the market telling us, stuff of potentially things to do. Signals, though, are only signals. They tell you to get ready. We act on the triggers, the reaction to the signals. And sometimes you get a signal and there's no trade afterwards, or nothing happens afterwards. Okay, don't do anything. But some other signals happen, and then you really, and then there's a high probability trade, etc. So that's really the basis of my stuff. Signals, reactions, and all that. We'll try to go through the charts real fast, looking up here at the right side, either up or down, because I've got some shorts also. And that's how we do it. Let's see, what's the other thing I want to mention? Okay, so I've got 6 lists of watch lists, and I'm constantly moving stocks around on them. We're going to look at indexes, the textbook box breakout leaders, the stocks that have bullish signals and bearish signals. We're not going to worry about list 5 and 6 because if nothing's happening on them, why do we need to look at them? So, all right, so we'll put this here at the start like I always do. Now, the one thing overview. The one thing of what's been going on is from the last couple of weeks, you've heard me talk about how there's low volume breakouts. We've seen lots and lots of low volume breakouts. That to me implies weakness. 2, earnings. S&P 500 earnings, basically are good, but they're not super good, yet the market keeps getting bid higher and higher. This has created a little bit of an overvalued market, it's all my opinion, of course, but the market's a touch overvalued, in my opinion. It's been in bubble territory, scratching at bubble territory, and when in years past it has always, held the line for that. So things have changed. And then lastly, the other things we've seen in the market, that the AI sector has been the only really good sector, AI related, like the electricals and stuff. And then there's everything else. And everything else seems to be deteriorating, while those other main groups have just been on fire. But some things have changed this week, and we're going to see that. But we've got those factors going on. But then this Friday was really weird. We got some economic news. And it implies, that things are getting worse out there, recessionary. But it also implies that the Fed's going to cut rates. And there are some people out there who think that solves everything. Oh, the Fed cuts rates, solves everything. Well, the worst bear market I've ever been in was 2001. Let me tell you, the Fed cut rates in that, you had the biggest one day move up as everybody went, oh, the rates are cut, we're saved. And next thing you know, went into a brutal bear market. I had graduated from business school. I couldn't get a job anywhere. Nobody was hiring. God, it was awful. Take a look at the charts from 2001, 2002. They were awful. So, man, the last thing you want, in my opinion, is a rate cut. But there are market players out there who maybe they need a rate cut. Maybe they probably are just younger guys who haven't been through a terrible bear market like that. And the market got jammed up on Friday, like it's going down exactly like I thought, where things are getting worse, and then blammo, on Friday they just ripped it back higher, and there's just too much liquidity out there. So right now, in my opinion, the market is an abused child. So and it's full of being abused by degenerates who have too much money and are just and do not want the game to end. They do not want it to end. So let's get in. We'll see. All right. So much for the monologue. Okay. AMZ MLPs going sideways in its box. No signals there. RK going down, of course, like it always does. I keep this chart really for colors to demonstrate the colors to you guys. Light gray, that's an inside weak. Well, look at that. You get a signal and then the reaction. Yellow, buy signal, and there's a reaction. Great, look, that's good. Blues and pinks are pay attention bars. Um, Blues tend to do pullbacks, but like this one shows, not always. Pinks have more of a bearish slant, and look at that. There's a signal and a reaction there. But then this one, here's an example of a white bar sell signal, which is the opposite of yellow. Signal, the reaction was bullish. So based on that signal, now the reaction was bearish. And look, price didn't do anything. It went sideways for weeks. So there's signals and then there's reactions. So ARC, nobody should own ARC, but again, it's a good chart for showing all the colors because it's got everything. Oil, this is my proxy for oil going down. And look, still no Darvas box. Look at that. Down oil implies less economic activity. NASDAQ. Okay. Big box breakout here. You got this volume here. Don't know where it's from. You got more volume the next week. And now here's that big sell down. Now the problem here is when breakouts fail, they tend to fail on week number 4. They go up, they confirm, but then they get real shaky here in week 3, and then splat. So this next week is going to be a really crucial week for the market. Crucial in that if it keeps going higher, then we're fine. But if things really actually do weaken, and if it breaks its box level right there, well then look out. You've seen on Twitter, I've been adding a bunch of shorts, and all the shorts are looking, start off with a bang. They've been good trades to balance out my longs, and that's just another sign. I don't see the need to be fully 100% bullish, despite this doing so well, because all the other stocks I see breaking out are doing it on low volume. When they're all breaking out like this, then I want to be mega long. But instead, I've been adding shorts rather than long. So interpret that as you will. Ethereum, there's that breakout. And what did it do? Well, it's up, but that's volatile. Growth proxy. Pink bar came down. Interesting. That's a pay attention signal. China, well, it had its little run. Now it's coming right back down. Bitcoin, no signals. Still going sideways. Where'd that volume go? Well, I don't know. But there's no signals, so no need to get out. If you were a buyer back here, just sit and trend follow. So many people can't sit still. And I'll admit, there's times when it's hard for me to sit still. But if you can sit still, man, you can really capture the trends. What's this? Gold, yeah, sideways in the box, nothing new there. High yield bonds, by the way, see this little rip here? Rip job on bonds? This is the last 2 days. Something happened and bonds started moving up. But this is always good to watch because junk bonds are very sensitive to the economy. Oh, look at that. Software. Oof, that's ugly. See, tech has problems. Software. The Nasdaq's going to new highs. Shouldn't software be moving up? Well, I don't know. Housing. There was a signal right here, a bearish shooter bar. It triggered successfully to the downside, and this week came back up. But again, this is like a last minute ripper, and maybe housing's not down for the count yet. And if interest rates go down, well, then housing might get a real boost because then affordability goes up. So if rates are coming down, housing's the last thing I want to be short. Right here, microcaps. Look at that. That's a bullish signal on microcaps. So bullish signal, put that down. In fact, if you wanted to trade IWC, that's a bullish signal. Basically, draw your line across the top. Boom. If it triggers upside, buy it. Or at least keep an eye on it. IWM sideways, nothing there. Healthcare. I just love it. Big sell down, comes back up, and now down again, matching the market. Transports. Okay, most of this week, this was a box breakdown here. And then you had a recovery the last couple days. And it closed back in the box range. When it was down here, you'd be like, yep, we're going into a recession. Transports still don't look all that great. And if you can look at triggers, it had a trigger there that triggered for a nanosecond, then it went down the other way. That's not really a trigger, but that's more like an FYI right there. If it busts down lower like that, well, that's how we can interpret that as weak. Equal weighted Nasdaq. Shouldn't this be ripping higher like the regular Nasdaq? No, because it's equal weighted. Other Nasdaq companies are struggling. Fizz Gold, I have this one sideways, nothing there. QQQ, same deal, same pattern as the Nasdaq, but look what's missing. Volume, drink. If the big institutions, yeah, they jam the QQQs, but if they're not putting any volume behind it, and look how low the volume is. And that's just the average volume. And by the way, I put this volume as a histogram. Let's look at it as a line. Look how low the QQQ volume is. Let's do a line. This is like the high of the week. Look how freaking low the volume is. Yeah, sure, it's a ripper on bull market, huh? When volume is only down, way down here? See, that's the divergences which lead me to think that this whole move is weak. Sideways. Interest rates. See, short-term bonds, interest rate, when this goes up, means rates are coming down a little bit. You see this move right in here? It was down and then ripped back up. Heading down, and then the last 2 days, rip back higher. I was told by somebody smart that the PMIs are what signals recession coming, and the Chicago PMI report, which came out, basically was an awful productivity or manufacturing print or whatever, and basically signals recession. But you see how these crazies think? We're going to recession. They're going to cut rates. Buy. Jam the market higher. No, man. Sure, do it, but then watch out if the Fed actually cuts. What do we got? Semiconductors, low volume, drink. Low volume breakout. Where's the volume? Where's the beef? S&P 500. Well, low volume breakout moving. And this, by the way, was way down here until this was going to be a failed breakout until Friday when it got jammed higher. And the jamming didn't come in until like, when did the jamming occur? Let's look at our 30-minute chart. It came, or 65, it started at, oh, call it 1 o'clock or so, and just tilted higher, and then they really ripped it in the by the close. Like I said, the market's an abused child. But that there's a confirmed breakout. But again, week 4, if it's going to be weak and go splat, that happens in week number 4. So we'll see what happens. Spies don't confirm, no low volume drink. Week 4. These are sentiment numbers. Right there. Sentiment's more in the middle. At least it's not, it was down here and all of a sudden changed back. But you can see things are going awful on sentiment, and then they jammed it at the close. Great. It's the kind of trading we don't need. Yeah, crazy there. Oh, here's the tan, the solar. So if you think solar is the greatest thing ever nowadays, well, it had a decent reaction. You could buy it. Let's say you bought it right at the close mark. Well, you'd be up a little bit. Who knows? Maybe next week it rips higher. I don't know. But that's bullish. Hard to believe, but yes, it's bullish. TLTs. There's a negative signal because all week it triggered to the downside. And then did they jam it? Well, not so much on bonds, but that's still technically negative. If you had shorted it right there at the line, you'd still be up a little bit. You'd be a bit frustrated. You'd be like, come on. You'd be yelling at the market, but you'd still be up a smidge. That's the same. Uranium. Look at that. Volume, yay. No, not ready yet. Red volume there, and then sort of hanging out. But it's positive. The VIX. Another tortured index. Look at this. Down here at the bottom, it's selling off, so VIX goes up, and then when they jam it, they take it all back. Whoop. And housing, all sideways. Sideways. All right, we're back to that start. Let's go to the next. These are the textbook box breakouts. And these ones are worth studying because these are, in my opinion, the best of the best. So we got here, box breakout, but look, red volume. This is running into resistance. Now you could buy it, and there was a potential inside bar one there, but it didn't really stick. So you can see how it's sort of fighting it, but it's not taking off either. Maybe you might want to go to a daily signal. Well, that's kind of a hammer. Look at all the signals in here. There's always more signals on dailies. There was a downside trigger, but now you've got an upside one. It just all changed. There was the downside one, made a few bucks, but you can find a lot more signals on the daily, but I prefer to look at weekly charts, maybe even monthly charts. I'm probably going to do a monthly chart video this week also because it's the end of the month. But this is still in a breakout state. In fact, you know what? That's almost a box level. And if it is, then I got to move it. All right, I'll look at that one later. The Bros. I've traded this a couple times because I just like the concept of retail drinks, but they've got a lot of shares outstanding. Lots of shares outstanding make it hard to have giant moves. Bought it here, sold it here. So far, it's holding up as a good sale. Now there's an inside week, so we'll see if you really want this, just put signals at the tops, or if you don't want it at the bottoms. And remember what I said about week 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Week 4, see week 3 and 4, this one, it was bullish first 2 weeks and then came in and now it's looking sort of more sideways-ish. This one there looks great. Box breakout, positive signal, another positive signal. Now it might need a rest because there was all these buyers in here on their earnings, but looks good to me. This one right here, no signals. It's got the box breakout, doing good. But you know what? This one's been ripping for like a month. No, a year. Started, this is a monthly chart. Started back here. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 months of volume. If you look at this, you know, a lot of sellers in there. You don't have to sell it, but let's say you're a brand new buyer. Yeah, it might need a rest. CVNA, nothing but pullbacks here. I'm patiently waiting for a signal on this one to buy, but look at that. I got myself set up here. I was all set up to buy right here, and instead the opposite happened. Did I short it? No, because it's still overall positive. But look at that pullback. It must be frustrating people. This is why I think buying the episodic pivot is fraught with danger. Wait for a signal after. Oh, gorgeous. Deckers. Gorgeous. Textbook box breakout. This one here also, look at that. Big green, now followed by a big red bar. Well, if you think First Solar is going to go up a lot more from here, you might be disappointed. Look at that. It's right back here at all-time highs. So it might struggle with that for a while. Congrats to everyone who had it, but yeah. What do we got here? Hood. There is a bearish shooter signal. We'll have to watch the reaction to this next week very closely. It's a great box breakout, but to have this right there, I don't know. ML, I own this one. Bought it way back here. Sold a chunk here because it was getting really big. And now we've got another signal right here. Hopefully it resolves higher and not lower. It tested me back here, so it's happening again. I don't know. This one, box breakout. I do not like this company, but I have to acknowledge it's going up. The bird flu, whatever that is. But there's your marker. This might be a time to sell it and take that gain. NVIDIA, uh-oh. Bearish looking shooter bar, turn color. So watch this one next week very carefully. That 10-to-1 split, it's going to have 25 billion shares outstanding when it's done. That's just too much. That's ridiculous. So the time of making big money in NVIDIA might be over. This one, the running shoes. Big box breakout here. I bet you this is earnings. And look at that go. Super positive. Overall, I've tried the shoes. I don't like them, but I'm told I bought the wrong model. PI. This one did trigger right here. It had a nice looking breakout. Triggered the downside, but it didn't stick. It jammed higher. So who knows? I do not own that. I tried to. Qualcomm just looking fabulous. Started here, formed a box, broke out even further. Looks great. SE. Now, SE had some news where it opened gap downwards. You could say, well, I should be selling this, but I don't know. We'll see. I've got a lot of cushion to see what happens. Still going, nothing special. Shark Ninja still looks great. In fact, it looked like it hardly noticed this week. This one also, VST, great run. However, you go to the daily chart, big pink bar signal. So I'll see what happens. This one just again might be tired because it's running for so long. Started here. That's a lot. That's a lot of running of going. Walmart with a great box breakout. Zim. If I had been following this one, I would own this. There's a yellow signal here. Moved into a box breakout. Look at that, just going higher. I've forgotten all about this one. I had stopped watching it as it went on this decline. But at this point, they're like, we're back, baby. Okay, now to keep things shorter, we're going to look at bullish and bearish signals and then wrap. Okay, Apple, it's been bullish from this signal right here, and it's still going. So nothing new there. AI, I can't believe it, but we got a yellow bar buy signal here. The last one here failed, but maybe this one sticks. AMD is on this list because while overall it's gone sideways, it had a signal, and so far it's stayed above the signal for the last few weeks. This has been great, but look at the volatility, but it's still positive. Bill, I'm short this one, but this here is a bullish signal. So I'm really hoping it does not be bullish next week. If it is, I may have to cover. But, on Bill, if it does, well, I'll still make money. I'm not going to let a winning trade lose money. Like maybe I'll put a stop somewhere in here or whatever. But if it does go up, I'll set alerts all along in here. And if I have to punch, okay, then I have to punch. It is what it is. Breakout here, but no volume there. Going up, but would I mortgage my house for that? No. Here's again, drink, Costco, the box breakout on low volume here. Moved higher, no volume, but here's a signal. That looks bullish. But it's bearish if it falls below, so we'll see what happens. Crocs, box breakout, low volume, drink, ESTC going sideways, but look what's signaled right here. If EST goes higher, this is a good company. The stock's just, its history has been overvalued, like price to sales ratio. But there's a positive setup. If it triggers next week, jump on it. Right here, this one, box breakdown here, but then it signaled that hammer pattern, and it's been a positive resolution higher. So I'm keeping it on this list until it shows me something different. See how this works with this new system? GH, big green volume here, yellow bar, signal. I own this. I bought this in there. Now, this is sort of a biotech, and it does have some biotech info meetings coming up. So did I slam a huge number of money into this? No. But I've got enough where if it works, great. And if it fails, okay, well, I'm not going to lose too much. So, normally I don't like biotechs because of that nature, but, well, they all were jumping in on here. So we'll see what happens. Google's been going higher because it had a box breakout there, but no volume. But it's Google, being one of the big cap, mega cap techs, well, all they do is go up. So that's been going up right there. JP Morgan. This is a negative signal right here. Tried to box breakout. But look at that. Reaction, and it's back to upwards. So this is back on this list because it is a box breakout, and it's also got a potential signal there, but you could also say, well, right there as well. So a lot going on in that one. My dad owns a big chunk of JP Morgan stock, so he's thrilled. But beyond that, I don't know. This one right here, what is this? Lockheed Defense. Box breakout here on no volume. Drink. Really kind of wild and crazy, but stayed higher. Triggered to the downside, wrecked the breakout. But then look at this bar. That's a bullish bar. So let's say you really wanted to be in defense. It would have been really hard to have bought it in here, but maybe this is the time to buy. I don't know. LMT is kind of a mess, but it's got a bullish signal. So hence it goes on it. MU, what are we missing? Drink. More weak stuff. And heading up on a week number 4, if things don't go good, splat. So, like I said, this is going to be an important week. Netflix, breakout, but what's missing? Drink. Same here on RTX, more defense. Low volume breakout, but there's a positive bullish resolution to a signal. So you see, these are signals that are all bullish. Are they perfect? No, if they were perfect, it would be in box number 2. Instead, they're in box 3. Another one that's been going up, box breakout, drink. I think that's on that one. Yep, that's right. There's the box breakout, but a breakdown, and it went back up here, but drink. So you had to have faith in this one, and then it just had a great report. And ever since then, it's just been doing great. But no entry signals, so you just got to let it go. All right, that's for everything that's happening bullish. Here's the bearish ones. Big bearish bar right here on A, B, and B. It's set up for a potential trade. I tried it in here. I failed. But it's still sort of hanging around looking kind of ill. But notice one thing that it's got in its favor. These Bollinger Bands right here and down here. Theirs are still going up. So maybe they need to squeeze more before this one really falls off the cliff. But it's on the negative list because of this right here. Box breakdown. Low volume though. Drink. Here's the trigger. I shorted this one. 2 inside weeks. Whoopsie. 2 inside weeks. And then it resolved to the downside. And another failure low volume breakout. So I'm short that one. ANET. Here's an example of that week 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's still bullish overall because it's above the weekly moving average, but a tough one to trade. But this is an example of a box breakout failure. And notice on my charts here, I'm repetitive. I'm the same system over and over and over again. In your system, you want to be repetitive over and over and over again. Broadcom. This is a negative signal. Look at that. Tried to break out, failure. If you shorted that thinking this is ridiculous, whoopsie. Well, you're currently in the positive on a negative bet. Sell H, this one tried to box breakout here. Another example of weak breakout, and something bad happens, whoosh, down. See, I want conviction like this breakout right here. This is the one I want to buy. Big green, everybody's buying. And then where was the time to get out of it? Well, you had a big signal right there. If you took that, you saved yourself a lot of misery because there hasn't been any signals since. So if you look at the chart and people talk bullish, if you watch my videos, you know, no, they don't know what they're talking about. because MDB's charts show that it's something different. Pink bar, which has a bearish slant to it, also a box breakout failure. See, these are all these weak breakouts, which I noticed from weeks ago. Now they're all failing. Well, not all, but a lot of them are starting to have problems. There's a box breakdown on D-Dog. Dell. This is what really threw a wrench in the works. Dell sold lots of computers for AI, and they made no money. Basically, they're giving them away for free. Great. Not for free, but they're not making a dime on them. So what's the point? So I think it's very generous that the market closed it at 139. If it was me, I would have marked it down to like 109 or something. But that's bearish. The DKNG bearish on GitLab. So you see, if you're looking for stuff to bet against, well, that looks pretty good. White bar signal right there. This one's a hard one to trade. Look at this. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And again, this has 540 million shares outstanding up here. Just a very tough one. But most overvalued ones, I use price to sales ratio, because price to sales helps give a universal metric you can apply to everything, and it's not as manipulated as earnings per share. And when price to sales is 10 or 20 times, that's just overvalued. Oh, MDB, say it isn't so. Box breakdown, big one too. Look at this. Red, red, red. There's a lot more selling going on. Net, I'm short this one. There's that original signal that got this on the list. And splat. And now it got pushed. And look at the Bollinger Bands sort of expanding. This is probably going to be a good one. And that's why I am shorted. But it's been a real struggle to handle it all through these weeks. So when it started going down, I'm like, finally. This one, PanW. A bullish signal right here that triggered to the downside a failure. Failures are just as bad. That's the Nancy Pelosi. Super trader Nancy Pelosi. Root, there's a negative signal right there. Down a couple, and now it looks like it's threatening to go lower. Threatening. Not that I would short that one. Shop, negative here. I tried to short it. The bulls went a little crazy here and kicked me out, and then splat. But see, this is all the stuff. SMCI down, but volume's low, so that's a good thing. If Dell can't make any money selling computers, can these guys? Interesting. Snow, I'm short this. You had a great signal right in here. Signal. Short, short, cover. Signal again, short it again. Signal, and look at that. Now we got a box breakdown. Big red, 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 red. Where'd the greens go? Well, there were greens back in here. Doesn't look like many greens anymore. So when you're looking at short stuff, you want it to be down at the lower right rather than the upper right. Only a crazy person would be shorting NVIDIA without a valid signal. Now you had a signal here, but it resolved sort of mixed. Now you got another signal here. I bet it resolves probably mixed, but we'll see. Snow, square, box breakdown, but low volume. Uber, box breakdown, just pink signal. There was another signal there. And it resolved to the downside. Now it's going down slowly, but this was such a hot one too during this period. Green, 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 green. Well, where'd all the greens go? And the last two, Workday, looks awful. Look at the big red. And ZS. I tried to short ZS, and now it reported earnings, but that's all over the map. Maybe this is another short. We'll see. Okay, so that's it for the movers. And the last thing we'll look at is NAM exposure. So far, sentiment is still pretty high. And most people are probably long. But I've showed you ways to how to have a long short portfolio. Yes, you can have longs. You can have shorts also. Shorting is simply the opposite of being long. But the thing is, when you're shorting, you really want to look for all these negative factors. You want to see institutions not like this. You want to see short patterns. You want to see triggers to the downside instead of the upside. That's how you sort of build your case. And then use the price to sales ratio tool. If the stock has a price to sales greater than 10, or even if it's 20, oh yeah, baby. This here had a price to sales much higher, of course, than it is here. But that's how you can find your short candidates. And maybe you can use that to balance your portfolio. For this next week, we'll see what happens and whether they jam it up on rates or if breakouts go splat. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.